This is the last video Kiara sent.
We just got situated in our room.
Just hours later, Kiara would be dead. And her boyfriend, Ryan Friesen, would be at this jail outside Playa del Carmen behind bars.
CTV National News' investigative unit W5 returns with a haunting hour-long special, If I'm Ever Found Dead, airing on CTV, the W5 YouTube channel, and streaming on Crave tomorrow at 7 p.m. This explosive investigation follows the murder of a 23-year-old Canadian woman at a Mexican resort 3 years ago. Her boyfriend, who was found sleeping next to her body, was charged and found not guilty. And her family continues to fight for justice. Joining us now is W5 host and managing editor Avery Haines. Good morning, Avery.
Good morning, Michelle.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, tell us about the circumstances of this murder. What happened?
Well, Kiara and Ryan, both from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, went to Playa del Carmen to celebrate her 24th birthday. And as you mentioned, less than 12 hours later, she was found beaten to death. He was found laying beside her with swollen hands, blood embedded in his fingernails, bruises on his feet. He was immediately arrested and charged with femicide. And the family of Kiara was told by the prosecutors that it was an open and shut case. It was a slam dunk. They didn't think anyone else was involved. And so they were quite shocked when the judge-only trial came back with a not guilty verdict.
And so what was part of the defense that fell, or part of the case that fell apart in this case?
So the prosecutor's allegation was, and they had family members testifying at the trial to a history of domestic violence. They introduced as evidence Kiara's own diary, where her words were used in the trial against Ryan, where she described violent beatings, including one entry where she said that he beat her in a drunken rage and then fell asleep beside her and didn't remember it in the morning. The defense claimed that his DNA was not found under her fingernails, but that there was foreign DNA, and that the injuries that she sustained were so serious, so brutal, that they could not have been committed by one person. And those arguments won in the eyes of the judge, and that was the result of the not guilty verdict.
You went back to the scene of the crime and even spoke to a member of the Sinaloa cartel to test Ryan Friesen's claim. What did you find out there?
Right, so what we know from a meeting that was held with Ryan Friesen and some of Kiara's family members last summer, which was 2 years after her murder, is that he presented a theory that 3 or 4 people were involved. He claims to have seen 3 or 4 people in the laundry room. And his lawyer, who was flown in from Mexico for that meeting, raised this theory that the beating was a result of the hotel not paying a cartel tax. And so when I was in Playa del Carmen, which is in cartel territory, Sinaloa cartel is the mostly in control there, I met face-to-face with a member of the Sinaloa cartel and asked him, is this what happened in a case like this? Are tourists targeted if cartel taxes aren't paid? And he said, I know that story, and that's an absolute lie, that if the cartel is going to send a message, they want it to be very public, and they don't target tourists, that there have been times where tourists get caught in the crossfire, or if tourists are involved in cartel business, they can be injured, and that can happen. But he absolutely denied that this was a cartel execution.
This is a shocking story indeed, and you can watch the W5 investigative special, If I'm Ever Found Dead, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on CTV, the W5 YouTube channel, and streaming on Crave. Thank you, Avery.